Hey there, welcome back to the Path to Zion podcast, where we are rediscovering the ancient way. Thank you for tuning into the program today, as we just very briefly talk about this mysterious understanding of days, biblically speaking, culture aside, Christian doctrine aside, Jewish tradition aside, Roman Catholic traditions all pushed to the side. What in the world does the word alone say? Now we have the Sabbath day. You have Sunday, or you have every day. Does it even matter when we worship, when we don't? What are we talking about, even when we see the biblical appearance of the Sabbath day? We know that Yeshua in Mark chapter 2, verse 27 said the Sabbath was made for man. Yahweh speaks back in Exodus chapter 20, verse 8, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Kadosh, distinct and different. We know, of course, that Yahweh rested at creation. He himself observed a Sabbath day rest. And of course, he didn't need it, but yet he was choosing, we would say, to set a precedence for all of creation. Now, fast forward to Yeshua's death, burial, resurrection, ascension, and the individuals who came in and, quote, harnessed the church in the 2nd and 3rd centuries. It would be later written in 1923 from the Catholic Record of London, Ontario, quote, Sunday is our mark of authority. The church is above the Bible, and this transference of Sabbath observance is proof of that fact. I speak to the majority, obviously here on the program, which is Sunday morning, Sunday, Lord's Day Christians. And when Sunday, Lord's Day Christian evangelicals say that they don't keep the 4th commandment because they're not Jewish, I have a very simple question. One that's genuine. I'm not intending to be snarky in the slightest. But the question is, so does that then mean if, in fact, you do a Sunday Sabbath day, does that mean that you're Catholic then? It seems like a fair question. If we do any kind of just kindergarten level study and reading of early church history, we know why the majority of believers of the Bible side with the Catholic doctrine who claim that the real church are above the Bible, but yet people say, well, I don't do it for that reason. I worship every day, and I attend services on the Lord's Day, Sunday, Sabbath. Whether they would say it like that or not, that is the insinuated understanding. Now, these individuals would say that they're not Jewish and so they don't do Sabbath anymore. But in the 2nd and 3rd centuries, those who harnessed the power of what became modern Christianity left no question. This is not hidden. This was not some secretly subliminal act on their behalf. They left no question that they took precedence over the commands of Yahweh and over the words of Messiah. They boldly claim for all to see, read, know, understand that they, the new church, are above the Bible itself. Now, in fact, they boldly proclaimed it and demanded that all, quote, Jewishness be removed. They aligned anything that was Yahweh's commands, Yahweh's feasts, festivals, his 7th-day Sabbath rest that he commanded us to do. They deemed those all empty, hollow Jewish traditions, and don't ever forget the Jews killed our Messiah, you know. They would remove anything that they inserted into history to be forever marked, remembered negatively as Jewish. They would govern the church from there, and friend, this has worked perfectly. Now, as I often share, this is not at all about what day one chooses to worship on. Sabbath, from a biblical understanding, is not at all about like what day you choose to worship on, what day you choose to, quote, go to church or have a Bible study. That's not the point whatsoever. The fourth commandment that stems from the creation event is all about making holy what the Most High commanded us to keep holy for our good. When we do so, we join into His wonderfully perfect timing for how man was created and literally designed to live within the confines of Father's will and way for man to walk, for man to live. It's a beautiful expression of the Creator's plan for His creation. To be Hebrew kadosh is to be distinct and entirely set apart and different than the rest. So the command to keep the Sabbath day holy, we have to understand this basic Hebrew understanding of kadosh, holy. So therefore, something that is common, like every day, cannot, by very definition, be holy, which is why we have in the title today in this brief message, Sabbath day, Sunday, every day. By very definition, a common day cannot be a holy day. This would be a biblically defined example of profaning the Sabbath. When something is profaned, it is simply made common. Therefore, every day cannot be a Sabbath day, or else it would no longer be a holy, set-apart, consecrated, different, distinct day. Likewise, the every day is holy now in Jesus approach lacks the proper understanding of the Sabbath day observance as a whole. The command is specifically regarding a day, not a spiritual state of being like we read of in Hebrews and elsewhere in the Word. This is about a day, not a spiritual state of Sabbath rest. We've talked about this a lot over the years here on the program. We have many other episodes about it if you want to explore. If there are many people beginning to ask questions about why do we do the things that we do, what have we inherited that have led us astray from the Creator's ways, from the Most High's Word? Because again, our three primary quotes of consideration today as we see Sabbath day, Sunday, every day. Yeshua said the Sabbath was made for man. Yahweh said, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy, kadosh, distinct, and different. And the Catholic Church said, Sunday is our mark of authority. The church is above the Bible. So think on this, won't you, today as you consider what you do and why. Just because something has become normal tradition and is widely accepted does not in any way mean that it is right in the eyes of the Creator. We will all be personally responsible for what we do, for what we do not do, and why. You've been listening to the Path to Zion podcast. We're rediscovering the ancient way. If you have questions about these things, email us anytime. pathtozionpodcast@gmail.com. Of course, message us on YouTube and on our Facebook page. Thank you so much for listening. Amen.